So yesterday, there was big news in the world of medicine, in the world of academia, in the Jewish world, as Ruth Gottesman donated $1 billion to Einstein Medical School. Now, just to put it in perspective, I don't think there's ever a university or any charity that got $1 billion from one person in one time. And Ruth Gottesman gave the money to Einstein Medical School, which was founded by Yeshiva University and is an affiliate of Yeshiva University, a Jewish university. And also, she announced it, and you see the video where she announces it, and you see the students crying, because what she did was that all the students, I think there's 750 students this year, plus more, will have free tuition. No one will be charged tuition to go to medical school at Einstein Medical School, which is in one of the poorest districts in the Bronx, and is obviously a remarkable thing. Many of the doctors that we know here, the Jewish doctors, went to Einstein University Medical School and are remarkable people who are changing the world. And it really couldn't come at a better time. And I want to talk about two things. Firstly, you see what's going on at Mount Sinai Medical Hospital and other places where rabid anti-Semites are literally demonstrating outside these hospitals and outside these museums, because Jewish people gave their money in tremendous generosity to build hospitals, museums, schools in remarkable ways. And they're demonstrating, because of our kindness, because of our generosity, and because we are helping people indiscriminately. It's unbelievable, the hypocrisy and the hatred, and the fact that it's even allowed. Because freedom of speech doesn't mean intimidating or bullying, as was done at the 92nd Street Y to Barry Weiss on Tuesday night and other places, which is horrendous. But there's something else. Ruth Gottesman is a Jewish woman who had $1 million that she then decided to donate so generously to Einstein Medical School. Where does she get this from? Where is this generosity that's unparalleled to the Jewish people in the amount of charity we give, and not just to Jewish causes? In fact, most of Jewish charity, unfortunately, does not go to Jewish causes. But I think it comes from this week's Torah portion, because in this week's Torah portion, we read the beginning of the portion where God commands Moses that each person from the age of 20 and older should give a half a coin shekel as a donation to the holy temple, to the tabernacle, and eventually the temple, to be able to support itself. And the question the rabbis ask is twofold. First of all, we know in Judaism, the whole number is always so critical. When you make challah Friday night, you have a whole challah, not a half. So why a half? Why a half a coin? And secondly, the rabbis tell us that Moses couldn't understand what kind of half a coin of fire God asked for. And that God showed him a coin, what kind of half a coin God asked for. And God showed him a coin of fire. And that's when Moses understood. And the question is, what was so complicated for Moses to understand that God had to show him? And I want to talk about these two issues to explain what just transpired. Firstly, the rabbis say, Moses' question wasn't what kind of half a coin it was. But his question was, the verse says that we should give it as a forgiveness for our soul. Moses said, how could a half a coin be forgiveness for the soul? And God answered him with a coin of fire. Because what God was saying was, when you give with passion, when you give with love, when you put your heart and soul into it, it's irrelevant how much it is, but it's the fact that you give. And secondly, why was it a half a coin? Because what God was telling us, that we are a codependent community, and that each of us is half without another Jew. We can't say, oh, what difference does it make what's happening in Israel? What difference does it make what's happening in another community? It's not me. We are all one. We are codependent. And that is something that is so powerful about the Jewish people, and something that we've seen since October 7th. But then there's something else, and this brings me back to Ruth Gottesman. The rabbis ask a question. If God wanted to count the Jews, why a half a coin? Just count them by their bodies. And the answer is that God was teaching the Jewish people something for eternity. That the way you're counted is by your contribution. What have you done for society? What have you given? What have you shared of yourself? And it doesn't only mean money. It can mean ideas. It can mean physically helping, volunteering. If you think about the Nobel Prizes in economics, in medicine, in science, if you think about the museums, the hospitals, the schools that Jewish people have given of their money, of their mind, it's unparalleled in any other place. And that's what God taught us at the moment when He asked the Jewish people to each give a half a coin. He said, you want to know how you counted? What are you ready to share? It's like the famous story with Sir Montefiore when they asked him, how much are you worth? And he said it was a few $1,000,000, which he was worth much more, even back then. And they said, what are you talking about? You're worth much more. And he smiled and he said, I'm only worth what I gave, because everything else could be taken away from me. But what I shared with others is only thing that no one could take from me. God bless you and have an awesome day. Thank you.